Hi, everybody. This is Joy Lingerie, and I have Suzanne Garrett with us today. She is our guest. I'd like to give a shout out after welcoming all you to our show to my sponsor, Luscious Moss Studio, owned and operated by Chad Christ in Edgewood, Washington. That's by Milton. You can find him on Facebook either through Luscious Moss Studio or Chad Christ. He primarily set up for drummers, recording drummers and guitarists. However, he also does processes recordings. He does mine. He produces everything, and I know he has a lot of people out there that he does that for. So just look him up if you have any needs. And let's get started with Suzanne. Suzanne, can you tell me how you got interested in playing the violin and where you started, and who were your influences when you did?
My original 1963, my sister was 6.5 and I was 4. And she started violin. And of course, anything my older sister was doing, I was greatly influenced by.
Sure.
From sports to music to arts to friends, family interactions, school. She was my big sister.
Absolutely. I get
She
that.
passed away a few years ago,
Right.
almost, but she left me her violin, and that violin was made by Henry Lanini, and my violin, which was a 1969 violin, was also made by Henry Lanini out of San Jose, California. I was born in Seattle, raised in California, Northern California. And so the great influence of music and arts was very predominant in the Northern California school systems. It was very heavy. We went to a lot of operas and symphonies and museums. I look at school kids nowadays, and their influence and their field trips are nothing like what I was raised with.
Exactly.
The violin was something I just did because my sister was doing it, and my mother it was easier for my mother to pay for one set of lessons by one instrument, one set of teachers. And that was Marjorie and Jean McFarland out of Burlingame, California. They have long since passed, but their influence upon me is, if you see me sitting like I'm in an orchestra with my back straight and my elbows up, properly playing the violin form, we can just thank those two teachers for developing the original protocol on how to play the violin.
So I also remember that you told a story that your music teacher told you not to play and sing at the same time. Was that one of those two ladies, or did that come later?
Well, the teachers asked me not to talk. And if anybody is on this interview listening, you can all smile. You know, I love to talk. So whether I'm being interviewed by Joy or being taught how to do something, my mouth, I need to learn. I call it my duct tape mouth. But I find that I express my energy and my happiness and my joy and my excitement over everything by talking. Some people do other things. I talk. So one of the things was in grammar school, I played violin in the orchestra, and I was told not to sing to the glee club that was singing. And I was in the pits playing the violin, and I would want to sing the songs at the same time while I was playing the violin.
Right.
And they told me not to. And it occurred in junior high also. And then in high school, I was approached and said, well, you have to make a choice. You either play in the pits, the violin, or you're in chorus. And I had to make a choice in high school. So I did 4 years in the pits. Now I would hum under my breath. I would get away with it. Hallelujah chorus, Handel's Messiah. There was no way I was going to get away with not singing along. Those are just very powerful pieces.
Right. Well, I've heard
But
your
that
voice.
was
You have a beautiful voice. You have a soprano. You have a beautiful soprano voice. I've heard you sing out at Dreadnought with
thank you.
HR's Jam. Yes. Well, that's a shame, but I don't know how you could do both, really. I've never heard anyone with a violin sing while they're playing, so maybe there's something there I don't know about.
There's a great influence, and her name is, oh, I'm so nervous I forgot her name.
Oh no,
She
that's
played
right.
with she she played with Clint McCune, and she's Gelly. Her name is Gelly, Geli, and phenomenal violin player. And she would play the dual violin viola, which has 5 strings, unlike the violin, which has G,
Yeah,
D, A, E, and the viola has C, G, D, A. And her viola violin was 5 strings.
yeah.
And she
All right.
phenomenal. She was a great influence, and she could sing and play phenomenally. And I always wanted to be like her when I grew up.
Oh, that's cool. So when did you first like have your first recital, and how did that go?
Oh, my first recital would be with Jean and Marjorie McFarland in the front living room of their house. And all the students would gather, and we were supposed to memorize a piece and play it with the piano accompaniment. Claire de Lune, oh golly, I that's so far back, coming up to 55 years. I cannot remember the exact tune. I believe I have all my original music, and I bet I could find it. It had a little gold star in the corner. I probably was a lot more nervous than I am now. Now when I play the violin now, it's like, well, if you guys don't like it, that's sorry. I've been playing too long to be told not to play. So I just play when people want me to, and when I'm up there, I just play my heart out.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to play? What's your favorite song
Favorite
or
thing to
thing,
play?
type of music?
Well, I am a Pitts violin player. The Pitts is where violin players go for musicals or performances. The Pitts is where you play music for the ballet or the symphony, usually is on a stage, but anywhere there's a pit where the orchestra plays. And I would say any musical that's a common musical. I haven't gotten into the new ones. I'm not too aware of Hairspray, but I heard it's quite nice. And Sing 1 and 2 and 3 and whatever, how many they've had. But I go back to the old ones. Sound of Music, oh, My Fair Lady. I know most of these songs by heart, and I actually can play the music and sing just because they're ingrained after 50 years of singing and playing. So any musical.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of it's called Jonathan Livingston Seagull music? It was written away probably
In
back
the
before
60s.
you were even aware of
I
it.
have
Yeah.
an original Jonathan. I have an original book, Jonathan Livingston
Yeah.
Seagull,
But
but I've
there's a
never
whole
heard the music.
oh, the music is beautiful. Music is absolutely beautiful. And a violin or viola or fiddle. I don't know about fiddle, but any of those who work on that song, there is really beautiful music, but nobody knows it anymore. That's in the past, I guess. All
So
the
that's a
stuff
loving challenge,
yeah.
a loving challenge for me to look up that music and play. I don't do solos, but maybe for you, Joy, I'll
Oh, that would be lovely.
find my heart and play Jonathan Livingston Seagull music. It's
Yes.
a challenge, and it's when people challenge me, I
You
grow.
do.
I,
All right.
I sit up stage and just play what I love to play, I don't grow.
I hear
And
you. Yes.
so I appreciate
So,
this chance.
uh, wonderful. So, I see you sew a lot. I'm trying to make myself the habit, but I just can't. So we're stuck with it. Anyway, what was the next thing that you did? I mean, obviously, we all have to give recitals. I play piano, so I had to do that. Good practice. Scared the crap out of me, to be exact. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
where did you go from there? How did you get from that place and that first recital to playing like you do today and to playing with Doug Arrington? I think it's called the Doug Arrington Band.
Yeah, Doug Arrington is, I'm not saying the final piece, but he's taken and matured my playing so that I have a direction. I've played with many bands. I have to shout out, oh my gosh, there's about 25 people who've influenced me in the last 17 years. Mm-hmm. After high school, I went to college up here in University of Washington. I brought my violin with me. It sat in the corner of my dorm room. If somebody were playing chamber music or said, hey, bring your violin down, play some music with us around the piano, Christmas music, just goofing around. I can still read music. My eyesight is not good, so I have to put the music close to my nose. That's not really good for stage performance. No. And I believe if you were to take a change in how I played in grammar school, junior high, high school, to post-college and working and performing for volunteer groups, I think knowing that I can't read the music physically, just having it right up to my nose. Having a sheet music, look, this is not a very admirable video right there. Well, if you watch people perform at open mics and they need their music, what do? They put their stand right up in their face or their music. I get it. And I understand why. They're either nervous or they don't know it well enough to feel comfortable playing without the music in front of them. But I have found and seen videos and seen pictures, and I'm going, well, if they're going to take a picture of me and for posterity or to share with me or share on Facebook or share, having something in front of your face it's not going to work. And I think there was a major change from the time I was reading music in high school to knowing that I don't need music to play. The written paper or a stand or words. And you were asking me about my recitals. I can go back. Let's go back to junior high where they had some concerts, and they were called, what were they called back then? A group of musicians all going to one place, performing and getting ribbons and medals.
Oh,
I forgot the name of them.
In junior high.
They're kind of like recitals, but the name of them escapes me. So I got to one and I had not memorized my piece, and I got up there. I had a stand. Afterwards, they critique you out loud to you, and they said, you would have gotten superior rating, but, and I knew what the but was. It's too bad you were reading your music. I mean, they said your intonation was good, your rhythm was perfect, you expression, and you're a very good violin player, but you need to memorize that. I don't know how many people use buts in their lives as excuses. I don't mind not being a professional violin player, being in I don't see too many symphonies without music stands. Do you?
No, we're not.
Exactly. I mean, even if they're not reading the music and they actually know their part and they're just using that to see rhythm and change and who's going to come in next, they're still using music. But when I stopped reading music because of not liking that stand in front of my face, I felt, I know enough music. Joy, you know enough music to play anything by heart, right?
I mean, I don't know about that. I don't use music stands. I don't do that whole thing with the they bring their cell phone and they read off of it, or they bring a computer and they read off of it. I don't do that. I either memorize it and forget my words and have to put something in there real quick, and I film everything. So when I'm through filming, I know where I need to learn the words, or I need to, I know where my problems are, where to work on them. But I won't use that. I find that a little unusual. There wasn't any of that when I started.
So when I was married. I've been married now almost 39 years in August.
Yes, that's
I've known my husband for 40 years. I started off with sports. You kind of don't need music paper in front of you for sports. Your coach tells you what position to play when you're up. You don't need to have a paper in front of you saying, oh, gosh, I got to get ready. I'm 3 more people and I'm up to bat. Music is kind of like sports, though. People either ask you to play or they keep you on the bench, right? It's the same idea. Exactly. And I was not a professional baseball player, but a softball player. I was good. I had a nice arm and I played well, but I wasn't as good as the other people. So I just let them play. And I'd sit on the bench and I'd take notes and I'd enjoy myself. I'd now, just like in music, I love listening to you play. I love listening to my band members play at open mics. I also hear my part. And I think that comes from so many years of being in music. You can listen on the radio and go, oh, a violin would sound really good right there. And then the next notes are a violin playing and go, wow, how did I do that? And it's instinct and it's hearing and it's from the heart. It's like, how do those pitchers catch those line drives right off the bat? It's instinct almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Self-preservation. Yeah. And I think sports and music, all my friends are going to laugh at that comparison, but if you think about it, it's very similar. You have a team, and each team has a part to play. And if one person fails, the other person has to pick up the ball and run with it. So if you forget your part and your lead guitar will pick up and start playing, or your bass player will fill in, or the flute player will come and help, or the violin player will come off the bench and say, hey, I hear my part. Can I play, Joy? And I will, as a violin player, a violin is a fiddle. It is the viola. It's the shape. It's how it's strung. It's a stringed instrument. And I feel that when I say, yeah, I'm going to go play my violin tonight, people go, well, don't you play the viola? And I go, well, yeah, but it's played the same. It's the same. It's just the notes are different. That's all. So
I don't know much. I don't know much about the violin. My mom played it, but I never heard her. She never played it when I was a child. She didn't have a violin. And I love it. I love the sound of it. The song, I've just finished a song. It's being mastered right now, and it's called Lavender Fields. And Lynn Sorensen, I don't know if you know him. He's at the Jam in Duval on Sunday nights. And he was in the orchestra when he was younger, and he was like the child protege type thing. And he's very good. And he's playing on some of my records. Sometimes he plays fiddle, if it's a country tune that calls for a fiddle. And that's the extent of my knowledge, but I just love the sound of it. And there are songs where it just seems appropriate to me to have that in there.
Well, I'll give you a 30-second lesson in violin, viola, fiddle.
All right.
Stand-up bass and cello.
Okay.
Stradivarius in 1786 had a measurement that made the violin sound appropriate. The measurements are different sizes, of course, proportions, for the stand-up bass, for the cello, for the viola, the violin. And people go, well, what's the difference between a violin and a fiddle? And I go, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Except style.
Yeah.
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 I don't wear a chin rest or a shoulder rest. That shoulder rest lifts your chin up. The chin rest holds your head in the right spot. I don't use either one. It's uncomfortable. My lessons, they're gone. They don't have any criticisms of how I play anymore. There's no one to criticize. And I think people get very worried about touching a violin. And like, I hand it to them. I hand my violin to somebody who's never held a violin. And I tell them, yeah, go ahead, play it, see what you can do. Some of them hit it off well. Some of them have a little screech. And they go, oh, I knew I couldn't do this. And I go, if you've never played it before, that's pretty good. You didn't drop it. You didn't poke anybody's eye out. I'm a positive girl. I might not be able to give lessons, but a lot of people say, do you teach? And I go, every day, all the time, to everybody. Whatever knowledge was given to me by my parents and sister and my teachers and conductors, my peers now, I listen. Well, I'm involved with Village Community Services, which is people with disabilities. And I got to give them a big shout out, because right now I'm talking on their laptop in their conference room, and they were gracious enough to let me have this interview with you here. They have a Voices of the Village, and it's run by John Dahlgarn, who is an ex-rock and roll guy. And he came around, and he and I know each other for, that's 16, 17 years. And I'm always invited. If anytime I want to bring my violin and play with the group, I can. He plugs me in, and it's a go. It's a win-win-win situation. All the players, clients love me. I love them. They get to play the violin if they want to. They love to hear me play. So they say, let Suzanne play, let Suzanne play. It warms my heart, because it's such a free form. Now, John he plays the guitar and he sings. So he keeps the rhythm and the beat. And then the clients express themselves, and they're rock stars. And there's not too many people who get to be rock stars in their life. And I feel one of my dear friends and his wife, that's Jeff Crookall and Kim Dietz. She has a band called Her, Etc. And one of the things, he's always encouraging me to try something new. Well, they took me to Wintergrass, where the fiddlers and the uke. Oh my goodness. Yes. I was blown away. I know how to play the violin. I know how to pick it up. I know what notes I'm playing, but it's technique. And I sat one time for 4 hours in the lobby of the Hyatt in downtown Bellevue, just this last February. And I sat there, and for 4 hours, all I did was fiddle. And I learned, and I was watching and enveloping myself. And I go, if this is the only way I'm going to learn, this is how I'm going to learn. And I've been applying that lately. Some people who've never heard me play think, oh my gosh, you're such a good fiddle player. I was like, wow, 4-hour lessons, intensive on, nonstop, no breaks, no bathroom breaks, no water, just in the hallway. And as you can see by my face, I really, really enjoyed that because I didn't have to take a lesson and perform for them or show anybody what skill set I have. I just sat in a chair and I followed these experts. Oh, they were phenomenal. And I learned so much. And a few things I've already been doing instinctively. You know, the double stops or the two notes played together, two strings. And instinctively, I've done a little sliding through and little fiddle sounds and a little country twang. And they go, yeah, you can fiddle. And I go, well, wait until you hear these guys. And it's very difficult. There's a few people in this community, like Jeffrey Castle is a phenomenal violin player. Swill Canham is a phenomenal violin player. Gelly, like I mentioned her earlier, she's out of state now. There are some incredible people who have such a skill set that blows my mind. But it's not because I can't play it. It's just that I haven't put that much effort into it. I play from the heart. So it's whatever's comfortable for me.
Yeah. Not a good place to be necessarily.
It's you know, I'm 64 years old and I feel like I'm still in my 30s and I'm just loving it. Sure, I'd love to improve. And whenever somebody asks me, like my speaking, oh, there's the word like, I try not to use that. It offends me when I speak. And so your interviewing me is a part of my love of speaking, to not use. It's just like when you play a wrong note consistently all the time, or you're not playing in the right spots. It's the same thing with speaking with the wrong words. And if you don't know the right words to say, stop. Close my mouth. Let joy speak. And I've just enjoyed this last 17 years. I've improved as a human. Music has given me great friendships that will take me forever. They'll take me to the end. These are friends that makes me cry. They're just beautiful. Music is such a beautiful language. And whether you're disabled or old or new, young, baby, never played, never picked up an instrument in your life, music is just like life. You can start living anytime you want. You can play any instrument you want. You just have to pick it up and do it. It's like I've taken guitar lessons and then go, okay, well, if in a pinch, if my life depended on it, I can play some notes on the guitar. If you need me to, if you say you're going to die if you don't play some music on the guitar, I could do it.
You could do it. So anyway, what were you doing during COVID? Were you playing prior to COVID and during COVID, or have you just kind of come back to it, or what have you been doing during this time?
COVID was a very interesting time because one of my dear friends is the director at Village Community Services. Her name is Michelle Dietz, and she met me at the Oregon Country Fair. And I had just joined a band called Blue Rose, and several people in that band. We disbanded, as most bands end up doing. We disbanded. And Michelle literally took me by the hand, got my phone number, and said, I want you to be with me at work. I need you. You're the right personality. You're somebody who is willing to do anything to help other people. And Village is supporting people with disabilities in their community and helping them achieve normalcy, what they like, playing music. Not too many people would give somebody a chance to do that. And Village gives chances to all their clients to go bowling. my goodness, being a bowling league. She took me under her wing and she said, "Oh, and we have a music group." And I was in Blue Rose Band. I was doing music volunteering for her Village Community Services. And it just expanded from there. And when we disbanded the band itself, Jeff Crookall, who was the lead rhythm guitar player in the band, he said, "Hey, come on down to Snohomish." So I'd say that was 2006 to 2000. So 4 years we had a band. And I had no idea that a violin could do what I was making it do. Sound.
I love it.
And I found myself making giddy noises in my own, out of my own head, out of my own mouth. This is like, "Oh, did I just do that? Oh, that sounds fun. I think I'll repeat that." Ooh. And then my band members go, "Whatever you just did, do it again." It's like, oh, and now I got to remember what I did. And there's a lot of, I call my violin kind of a noisemaker. How's that?
It's like, okay, I'm going to interrupt you here for just a minute. Hold that thought. Whoever made the comment here on our comments, please include your name so we know we can respond to you. It says you both are you're both so wonderful! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! We're wonderful.
We
Thank
are.
you.
Let's see. You are both one. So let's see if I can I see who's that made that comment?
The only way that I can see it is if I go to Matured Musicians on my phone while we're talking.
Susie, you talk too much.
I would say that.
And this is somebody who knows me really well.
Yeah. You'll have to go back in afterwards onto Matured Musicians. You'll see all the comments and we can respond later too. So,
but I have a feeling I know who Susie is being addressed by.
Okay.
Because there's a very handful of people who call me Susie.
Ah, okay.
But that's okay. Okay, Joy, ask some more questions.
So I was asking you about COVID and what were your thoughts? Were you working with the people with physical disabilities during that time? Or did you have to stop because of COVID? And were you playing during that time? What were you doing?
I was not playing music live. Jeff and Kim joined the 192 brewery online Zoom open mics.
Yeah.
And I would join in and we'd wear our masks. I'd sit 20 feet away from Kim and Jeff, but I'd be playing my violin in the background.
Yeah.
And that was the music part of COVID. And it didn't stop me. It made me aware that there were some people who didn't have computers, who couldn't do the joining in on the Zoom, who were stuck at home, unable to communicate with music or without music. Michelle took me under her wing and she said, "I need you." So Michelle took me and I wore my PPE gear, several postings through COVID. I would go out and I would take the clients to their appointments and to the doctor's appointments. And then I'd take them picking up their Walmart orders, which were loaded in with no contact. I stayed very, very, very busy during COVID.
Right.
And I have to thank Michelle for recognizing that I was a human being that could not sit still alone in my lazy boy chair waiting for the pandemic to pass. There was no way that was going to happen. She took me and she said, we've gotten all the gear here, distribute all this gear to all the clients, all the all the hand sanitizer, all the gloves and the masks and everything. And it was difficult but it was not. She found a way to promote me back and be active. And the music was not, I was always playing music. If I was at home, I was usually sound asleep. Eating, sound asleep. Oh, okay. Let's see.
I got some comments. Hold on. It says, it's Rosie. And she says, love this. And then somebody else says, me and my sister, Vicky, hugs to both of you girls.
Well, Roxy is fairly new to my musical circle, but it's like we've been together forever. Roxy and I are the same age.
Oh, that's right.
Phenomenal.
Roxanne.
That's Roxanne Pettit.
She's coming on the show too.
Yes, and she was so excited. Hi, Roxy. Hi, Ken. Hi, Vicky. Anyway, they are three of my biggest fans, even though they play better. I don't say better music. They're more matured musicians than I am. I think my music.
That's the name. Matured musicians.
Hence the name. I believe that I've got a lot of growing up to do. And makes me cry. All my musical friends know that I love wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, whoever I'm playing music for, or sitting on the bench, not playing. It's fine too, because I'm actually practicing in my head where my violin part would be, should be, could be. Hey, why doesn't that guy ask me up? Well, that guy on stage maybe doesn't even know who I am. So of course he's not going to ask me up. He doesn't know I play the viola or violin until I get to play with Roxy and Ken. And then people started hearing me play. And then all my friends are I'm just very excited that the people who know and love me and they see me and I have my viola with me, which is always, they ask me to play. And I think this matured musicians, it's just a phenomenal source of enjoyment for everyone. People who cannot leave their homes because they're still ill from the pandemic or their current situation. And when you put musicians on talking so much, like myself, I think people thought there might be some music played by me, but I don't believe that will happen.
Well, you certainly can play your music if you want to play something.
Not today. I happen to be in a conference room at work.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, darn.
But that's okay. I will be, you were going to ask me the question of, well, through the pandemic, that's what I did. I played music through Zoom. I stayed active and worked. I made more money in 2020 than I had made any year my whole life.
Wow.
And it's only because I was like the only worker who was able to go from place to place. I never, somebody says, oh, don't say that, Suzanne, that I never caught COVID. Well, that's because my father was a scientist and my mother was a physical therapist. I grew up with fastidious hand washing and scrubbing. If we had masks, we would have been wearing them in our own household. My dad was a starched white lab coat guy. Germs in his scientific experiments would not fly. The experiments would be ruined.
Yeah.
His two girls, my sister and I, we were his ultimate scientific experiments. So I was quite clean my whole life. And so when the pandemic came along, it didn't affect me much because it's like, oh, well, sure. Okay. So I got to wash my hands 10 times more, but I'm still washing it more than anybody else was. So I feel that I avoided a lot of the pandemic problems. And sorry for the tears, guys.
We've got a couple more comments here. It says, "Hi, honey, Vic, Kenny, and Roxy."
Yep.
And the next one is Oxford and Snohomish. Something.
Is that tonight?
Can't come play with us on this.
Okay.
7th.
7 p.m.
Is that what that is? Oh, I can't read this stuff. You talk about reading.
Hey, Roxy, what date are you and Ken playing Oxford? Well, while she's typing that answer in, and we'll read it, I am joined with, oh, there it is. Hi, ladies. Rachel. Oh, hi, Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
I'm playing with the Douglas Arrington Band, and Douglas is an incredible musician. He is touted as the voice to remember. He's been playing music his whole life. He's phenomenal. He has a performance capability that I strive to meet. Instead of just getting up with a t-shirt and jeans and lowering my head and playing with my eyes closed with my back to the audience, I have been instructed to smile. Of course, I don't talk when I'm on stage. If you guys notice that, if you give me a microphone, maybe, but I'm usually not mic'd because I'm playing the violin. And I want to say how much I appreciate Douglas Arrington for allowing me to join this multi-person band, and Katie Gill is in it. And we've had a rotational amount of fabulous musicians, Jeff Kirkall, Kelly Morse.
Yes.
People all recognize we are like a baseball team. We bring in the players that are available. If they're not available, we move on. We pull somebody off the bench. Katie was unable to make a couple of the gigs last year. Douglas invited me to come along, and it felt real and loving. And if it's work, I don't think anybody wants to do anything that's hard work. I don't know. Anybody? Some people who are OCD. Let's see. Did Roxy say?
Okay.
Somebody says no more.
No more tears.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. No more tears. Well, I guess I have no answer to that. I've been crying my whole life, and I guess that's why I have such clear eyes, is because my tears wash them away. And when I'm playing something so beautiful of somebody's music and I'm playing from the heart, you will see me cry on stage. And I think that's why I close my eyes or I try to wear dark glasses, because I feel passionately about music.
So that invitation, excuse me for a minute,
yes,
Suzanne, they said Tuesday. If you look a little higher, Tuesday was when they were inviting you.
And that's tomorrow. And let me see.
Probably at Oxford Jam.
I can go. And no more tears. Okay. Lots of smiley faces. I don't have my glasses on. I can't tell what kind of. Are those teary smiley faces? Can you tell?
I'm not sure what those are. I can't see.
And the Douglas Band. We follow Douglas D. Arrington, especially now Susie plays. You know, Roxy, can I keep you in my pocket and pull you out when I'm sad?
I need people like that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Tuesday night I will be at the Oxford, unless there's something that I'm going to help some friends out. My mother's dear friends who in Woodinville, I take care of them when they call me up and they need help. So I feel like a mini superhero. Put my hands on my hips. What do you need? Do you need help? Suzanne to the rescue.
They'll sign you up if you go to the Oxford. They'll sign you up if you don't get there.
And let's see, you follow. Okay. Let me put my glasses on.
Yeah, I need stronger glasses. I've been thinking of getting a microscope.
Thank you, Roxy. Yes, I will be there tomorrow. And yeah, I'll kiss you right on the lips. Okay.
Who said that?
This is a PG rated broadcast. You'll get your chance to enjoy.
This is welcome.
Uh-huh.
So what do you have coming up as far as gigs? Does Doug have something lined up for you?
Sure. Let me pull up that in front of me. Douglas Arrington goes winters in Florida, and he creates his Douglas Arrington band back there.
Snowbird.
And during the winter, he's wintering in
Florida.
Wherever, Augustine, and they love him down there, and we can't wait for him to come back. Okay, let's see if I can find. Here's my notes. Hold on a moment. Douglas D-O-U-G, Douglas Arrington. Okay, so we just came out of a private party, the Raspberry Jam Music, for Memorial Day weekend. So on the 14th, which I believe is
that June
14th. Okay. June 14th. So a week from the 7th must be Wednesday, the 14th. Today is the 5th, 6th, 7th. So 7 days from
Wednesday is 14th.
14th is Wednesday at the Oxford. We're doing a dinner show with the Douglas Band. And then 10 days from there, we're going to be out at our old stomping grounds, the Grape and Grain. Nice little small intimate stage, and lots of musicians have played there. Joy, you have been there, I'm sure.
No, I haven't. No.
You haven't been to the Grape and Grain yet?
No, I enjoy playing at the Oxford. Jerry Batista, he's so talented. I love what he does with my music, as he has no clue. And so he just plays.
So Jerry does with his guitar and Mando for everyone, as I want to do for everyone. Yeah. Being able to get up on you've made a comment about how do you do it? And people ask me, how do you know what note to start on? You just go right ahead and start playing, and I'm going, if you brushed your teeth for 50 years, I think you'd know what part of the teeth you're missing, right? Yeah. I mean, if you've been wearing glasses since you were in grammar school, you know where your glasses are. You don't lose them. There's something, and that's how I feel about music. It's innate, and Jerry has this capacity to play, and he's very good. I wish I were a little bit better, just a little bit. Just about that much.
Okay.
Noted. Maybe that much more. But I'm trying, and I have started fiddling a little bit more with confidence that my notes are going to sound okay. I think practicing with people, with them not even being in the room. Oh, no, you're good. That's my friend Jessie. She's the VELC Village Experience Learning Center coordinator. And she runs the Voices of the Village and all their gigs. So she and I are pals, and we live life like every day is a festival. Yes. And so I bring my instrument to every room and every stage of this festival. This little part of the festival is just kind of a interview of my festival of my life. I hope everybody just starts being happier with what they do, whether it's music, listening, seeing friends, loving their family, loving their pets, their dogs, their animals, their home, their life, treating their bodies with respect and love, and just be happier because it's so short. Speaking of short, June 24th, Grape and Grain with Douglas Arrington Band. Then we jump to the Oxford again on July 12th. And then July 16th, we're going to play the Everett Farmers Market. And I think Red, Utah Red, Karen, Erickson. She goes by many names. And I think she had a hand in booking us on that Everett Farmers Market. Then we have a tentative gig up at the Index Art Festival in Index. It's a very, if you've ever been to Index, it's a small stage.
I've never been to that place.
It's a beautiful venue, very small, a few art vendors, and we're surrounded by the mountains. It's in the mountains, and many people I know have played. Her Etc. has played. Douglas's band has played. Faye Wiedenhoff, who is my starting of ukulele lessons.
Oh, cool.
She is a singer instructor, and she is Kim Dietz's original musician voice coach, trainer, teacher. And she played her band up in Index. And I've just been surrounded by such great human beings in the music industry here in Snohomish County. And it stretches all the way up to Bellingham and all the way down to the Oregon Country Fair. And I've met some fiddlers, and I know a lot of people don't like Facebook, but I think it's the predominant communication device. And until something comes along with the capacity to reach as many people as it does, I know Twitter and there's YouTube and people reach out. So it's, you got to try this multimedia. And I go, until it comes as easy as Facebook, I think we're here for Facebook for a while. I say playing with you, girl, is so much fun. I can't wait. Okay. Oh, Index Festival is in July. Somebody asked Index when, but it's tentative and it doesn't have a date. So we're waiting on the Index Art Festival coordinators to give us a date. We have a private party in July. And then we come back to the Oxford, August 16th. September 1st through 3rd is an Ebby Island Festival.
Oh, yeah. It's the Creative Festival.
Is that the Creative Festival? And Douglas is waiting on coordination from the event planners there, whether we are or we aren't, and whether we're playing 1 day or 2 days. I happen to be very immersed in a festival. I don't play the music there, but I go there to enjoy everybody else's music. And every day's a festival. So pick and choose where you want to be, who you want to be with. Sometimes the weather cord, allows you to be outside and listen to music, and others not. But it's called Shebang up in Bellingham. And I got to give another shout out before I forget. Let's see, Oxford. Yes, we have Tuesday nights there, and then Wednesdays up at the Mirkwood in Arlington. I happen to live in Arlington. And
I was just there last week, and just a shout out to people who are listening or want to see you there. This is their first year anniversary this coming Wednesday. So if you want to hear some really good music, join Richard Williams and Chris Seeger at the Mirkwood. Starts at 7 and goes to 11, and hopefully I'll see you there.
Well, that's awesome. And Heather and Anton, the owners of the Mirkwood, I have been friends with them for 23 years. Wow. And they've owned the Mirkwood, and they've brought it up from literally the dust, risen from the ashes. The place was literally falling apart. Yeah. And during the pandemic, of course, and any business and all businesses struggled at their own.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of prayers going out to all my friends and family who had businesses or attending businesses or going to restaurants or supporting the world. We're all suffering. through that pandemic. And
one other thing
I know.
What other thing? Sorry about the delay here. I come in and you're still talking, but one other thing I want to say about the Mirkwood, I saw that, is that they have a sound man out there on Wednesday nights, and let me tell you, there's only a couple places where the sound is really good. One's the Oxford, and one is Lynn Sorensen's system when he uses that at Duval Jam on Sundays from 7 to 11. That's a Twin Dragon. And Mirkwood at Chris and Richard's Jam. So those are the three places that they're tuned in to concert sound.
Speaking of sound, I really appreciate everybody who is listening to my voice. I know my violin has been trying to change its voice on how it's connected to a sound system. I used to play into a microphone. Then I got myself a pickup. I didn't know what I was doing. I plugged it in. I played for about a year in the band. It physically fell off. I had to switch to a different violin. I rebooted it. They found me a wah-wah pedal and what are those talking tubes, Joy?
Yeah, I've heard them.
You Velcro them to your microphone and you hook it to your violin and you play it, and whatever it would sound like a wah-wah pedal. I loved it. And then it broke. It's like, so I've been morphing, and right now I am on a little pickup in my bridge. Oh, the last, I have 2 more dates, September 6th at the Oxford and October 18th at the Oxford. And that's, you give me a buzz, anybody, if you want any of this from Douglas Arrington's band lineup. There might be a couple added for Grape and Grain, and I'm thinking I'm unable to attend one of them. But it's been a joy. By the way, my middle name is Joyce, so I'm part of you.
My name is Joyce, but I changed it legally to Joy because everybody called me Joy. So my Joyce Ann was my given name from what my mother called me, but I like Joy, and I think my mother in heaven understands. They call me that. I love it. So there we go.
Well,
so the last
they called me Susie. They called me Susie Joyce. So in my dad's side of the family.
I have one last question. You put on your resume that you played in a rock band, rock and roll band. No, did I misread that?
Coming out of classical music, everything else is rock and roll. That's the simple. That's my brain. So when I say I play in a rock band, it's more of, right now it's Americana. I don't know my genres very well. A lot of these musicians we are playing with, they write their own music. And rockabilly, some of it's, I call it tonal. It's not quite your normal 4/4 time or 3/4 time waltz. It's not fiddle music. It's not country music. It's not rock and roll. I was just saying now my dad, before he died, and he found out I was in a band, he goes, "You're in a rock band?" And I go, "Well, kind of." And he goes, "Well, anything with a set of drums is a rock band." And I had never heard my father say anything like that. But I said, and he goes, "Well, don't do anything stupid." And I go, "Okay, I'll just get up and play my violin. I won't do anything stupid." Anyway,
I have a friend who was out at Duval last night, and he said, and of course, the people that play out there, a lot of the musicians have long hair. They wear their hair long. And his mother said, "Whoa, you're playing with a bunch of gangsters." She's 97 years old, so she was chiding him for playing with these long-haired people. I just love it.
Well, my dad was quite unique. I did not know who the four Beatles were until college.
Oh, wow.
I knew Elvis Presley only because my mother's maiden name was Presley.
Oh,
So
cool.
I had a connection there.
Yeah.
And so must be Roxy says I can play anything. And she says originals too. She just has to feel the melody.
Yeah.
Well, that's about right. Thank you, Roxy.
Well,
Well,
Roxanne,
Joy, it's been a joy. Is there
yeah,
anything else that the
no,
world is demanding to know about Suzanne
no, I
Garrett?
think I think it's a good time to end. It is now 1 o'clock or almost 1 minute past. So I do want to thank you for coming here and
Thank you.
talking. I'm glad you are a talker. It kept everything moving. It was good to hear what your background is, Suzanne. So hopefully I'll see you at some of these places, and maybe you'll get up there and play with me one of these times, maybe at the Dreadnought.
And yes, and all you have to do is ask.
All right.
And one last statement, and everybody can laugh themselves out of this video. If you can avoid using a capo and you want me to play with you, you've got a better chance of me playing with you if you don't put the capo on.
I know you usually don't use one, but
broadcast. And that's kind of like some people don't like coconut. Some people don't like dark chocolate. I don't like capos. There you go. I wish it were. Anyway, thank you, Joy. It's
You're
been
welcome.
wonderful, and you put a smile on my face. And
Good.
I hope more than just Roxy got to hear me. Nobody else is making. Nope, nobody. No more comments.
Go back in
Thank you,
after we're
Joy.
done. You're welcome. Go back in and you
Okay.
can respond. All right,
Okay.
guys. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
All right. That kind of wraps it up. We have another interview next Tuesday. I believe it's Spencer Toyson. So I will keep you informed. Watch my ads on Matured Musician and my Facebook page if you're my friend. And in the meantime, I hope you can catch one of these times that Roxanne is playing, Suzanne is playing. So that's it for me. I do have a gig coming up on June 10th. It is a benefit through HRC Ministries to stop sex trafficking. So they aid the victims of these incidences. So if you're able to go to Sam's in Spanaway, Sam's Bar and Grill, Saturday I play from 1 to 1:45. Do come out. We'll see you soon. Let's see if I can get out of here again. All right, you guys. Bye.